to jump on because we're on day 2. I'm going to connect to all this and just share some of what we're doing, learnings for you as a bookkeeper in practice from start up to scaling. If you happen to be watching this live, feel free to ask questions, comments, suggestions is all good. So day 2 of the blueprint path, how to start, grow, fix and scale your bookkeeping practice. It is not too late to jump in and register. So what I'll do is I'll drop the registration link into this video. It's also in the video that I did yesterday. So let's connect to what we're doing, why we're here, and what we did today as well as yesterday. So start, grow, fix, and scale your bookkeeping practice. Now, yesterday we started with, what did we start with? Fix, okay? So why did we start with fix rather than start? Yesterday's video, I do recommend that you watch it. And we started with fix because when you start, grow, scale your practice, it would be nice to avoid creating a booked but broken practice. So my startups, my growing, I need you to understand how bookkeepers get and stay perpetually in booked but broken, so that you can either fix it if you've got some of it going on, or you can avoid it altogether. So that's why we start with that, because there are 4 archetypes for bookkeepers that I've created. So working with bookkeepers over the last 2 or so years since launching my transformation program after publishing my first book in 2023, what I've developed, from what I've seen, is the 4 archetypes. So startup, no clients. Growing, you've got a client or more, but you're still trying to fill up your own personal capacity with clients. Now, booked but broken is where you fill up your capacity. Maybe you start employing staff. Yay, you've got lots of clients, but it hasn't translated into what you are hoping for. Ultimately, that is for you to get a beautiful 6-figure salary. Let's call it a full-time pay, working part-time hours, a real business, right? And then the 4th stage is scaled. Now, it would be nice if we just went startup, growing, scaled, and I'm very proud that bookkeepers I work with, if they come to me as a startup, they skip BBB, booked but broken. If they come to me growing, 100% of the time we've got to fix some stuff, but then they can move forward and skip that BBB stage, okay? So, while yesterday we started in the middle with how to fix your practice if you're booked but broken, today we went back to the beginning and we started with how to start. How to start a bookkeeping practice, primarily how to start strong, okay? Because the data, the science, the linear process is, and if we knew what I know now, if we had the blueprint from the beginning, yeah, so we want to start strong. So the reason we want to start strong is because, like the stories I'm sharing, so episode 125 of my podcast, where you hear from Linda Hall, like Linda Hall started strong because she had what I didn't have at the beginning. She had the blueprint. So she started strong, which meant she scaled confidently and fast. Okay, so very simple. Simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. She scaled confidently and fast. So in 12 months, $200,000 worth of revenue, a high percentage of that profit, no staff other than part-time admin, so no technical staff. So I've met bookkeepers that scale to 200 reasonably fast, but they've got a whole lot of staff and the profit and time off is not there, okay? So we know that now, we know that we want you to start strong, and starting strong versus starting weak. So what we covered today, and you can register and still receive the recordings of these. If you're watching this during the week that it's been run, you can absolutely register. If you're watching it and you're not sure, just email us or comment here, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global, so that we can talk to you about whether this is still available, okay? So we want to start strong when we're a startup, and then that will allow us to grow and scale confidently. So startup, get ready. Grow, scale confidently and fast, okay? And then after you go past growing and you graduate to scaling, we want to scale our business to be a real business, yeah? Not just a job that we're tied to. We want our business to work for us, not for us to be working for our business. So I just want to tell you the kind of 5-point plan we had today and the 5 things that we covered off. So let me look at those now. All right, here it is. So number 1, we connected to the archetype journey that I just told you about there. Yeah, we start, no clients, then we need to grow, and we want to do that confidently and fast. Yeah, if I could give you a magic pill and suddenly you had this thriving business that gave you a 6-figure income and all the time off you wanted, you'd take the magic pill, right? So you want to grow confidently and fast. So that's the archetype journey. Start, grow, scale. Unfortunately, bookkeepers start, grow, booked but broken perpetually, 90%, and hardly ever get to scaling. So we want to know the archetype journey. Then we want to look at what starting strong versus starting weak looks like, okay? So that looks like when you start strong, you start with the blueprint. When you start weak, you start without it, okay? And so when you start strong, you scale confidently and fast. When you start without it, you work hard, you bring on lots of clients, you build busy, and you end up in book but broken. So starting strong is about a fork in the road. If you start strong with the blueprint, then you'll head in the direction that Linda headed, right? You'll head to a thriving scaling practice. If you start weak without the blueprint, yeah, which we kind of talked about a bit through yesterday as well, then you will head in the direction of book but broken. That's a basic statistic, okay, at 90%. My lived experience, I have been every archetype, a startup, a growing, a booked but broken, and a scaling, okay? So then number 3, we were learning through story. So what we did is we compared my experience. So I landed in booked but broken. Yeah, I've had my practice 16 years now. About 6 years in, I got that beautiful income and time. 10 years in, I created and dialed in the blueprint. So we learnt through story. My story versus Linda's story. So how did Linda do it all so fast? How did she do it in a year? Marianne's story versus Linda's story. So in my podcast, we interviewed Marianne, and you'll hear she was trying for 20 years. So I was trying for 5 or 6 years. Marianne was trying for 20 years. So how did Linda get a result so fast? Simple. She had all the things from the beginning, and Marianne and I didn't. Okay, so we dived into that in today's live coaching workshop session. That was number 3. So we learned through story what Linda did. Then number 4, I wanted to make sure that everyone in the room understood what you need to do to start strong. So we dived into more of the mechanics and why it's important, okay? So let's see if I can elaborate on just a couple of headliners on that. So I think we know why it's important. Would you rather scale fast, confidently and fast? Would it be nice to feel like, oh, I think I know what I'm doing and I got the result really fast? So effort and sacrifice, time delay, low when you've got the blueprint. Yeah, so why? Because without it, effort and sacrifice is much greater and the time delay is massive. I mean, conservatively, Marianne would have left $1 million behind in that 20 years. So that is opportunity cost, what she could have been making, for example. If you're looking for her podcast, it's probably around 135 or something like that, podcast 135. Just look around that area to see her interview. And so in terms of why is this important? So when you don't have it, as I was saying, Marianne probably left $1 million on the table because opportunity cost. You're not bringing on the money that you could with this, yeah? The clients and the money. And then the time and money you spend trying to make it work. So Marianne working 7 days and nights, common story. So the effort and sacrifice is much higher without the blueprint. The time delay is much higher without the blueprint. The real cost is much higher without the blueprint. So what do you need to make all of it work? Well, starting strong is actually about the left-hand side of the blueprint. Now, if you don't have a copy of this, what I'll do, I wonder if I can drop a link to it in. I don't know, we'll see. But it's available in every episode of my podcast. We drop a link in there. It's in my second book, The Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint, and you can get that in there. So to get ready to start strong. So let's put growing aside for a minute, because once we start strong, we can grow and scale with confidence and fast, right? So let's just call it, we can grow fast. We can get the result, less effort and sacrifice. But starting strong versus starting weak. Starting strong, you need the left-hand side of this blueprint. Once you grow, you naturally implement it all. But when you're starting strong, it's about the left-hand side of the blueprint. And that's because, again, I'll keep comparing it to starting weak, okay? So let me look at this here. We covered this in depth in today's interview, but starting strong with the left-hand side versus starting weak. Okay, the best way I can talk to you about what you need to do is, number one, what you need to do is make sure you've got your hot little hands on this, okay? Because I want to give you the real mechanics of what you need to do. So you really need to get your hands on this. The second thing that you really need to do is learn a bit more, right? I'm going to tell you everything in this video. This is really a recap of today's live session. So to learn a bit more, I recommend that you register for the Blueprint Path. If you're not too late for that, then you'll get everything. You can watch them or you can listen podcast style, and I explain the mechanics of actually what you need to do in day one video, day two video, and I'll keep explaining everything as tomorrow we go into how to grow confidently and fast. And then Thursday, how to scale from good to great. And then Friday, the 3 definitive ways you can bring all this to life and take action. So how you will do this, you will register for the Blueprint. Now, if you're too late to do that and you're watching this video, have you read my first book? Have you read my second book? They will explain all of this. Are you tuning into my podcast? Okay, so that's going to explain what to do, because in a nutshell, and I don't expect this to make complete sense unless we know each other, unless you've been tuning into me, you're in the Blueprint Path, okay? But in a nutshell, like it says here on the left-hand side, we need to have a brand and brand assets and conversion process and product and pricing. That means we are going to work less and earn more than if we didn't have this, okay? You need to build these things, so learn, build, implement, so that you can attract and onboard great clients with ease into high value products, selling advisory from the get-go, and they just can't wait to press go, versus hustle and bring on tons of clients and work hard. So it's all about working less, making more, okay? Trust me now. I will point you to this week. I'm going to do another video. We've just been trying to get smarter at collecting all of our testimonials because we've got so many. The Strategic Bookkeeper is the #1 platform for bookkeepers globally who want to knock it out of the ballpark. I'm very proud of that. So very soon I'll direct you to lots and lots and lots of videos from our clients that we've collected that you can watch as well, that are testament to what I'm telling you here. And as I said, I've given you a couple of podcasts. We've got lots of podcasts from our clients as well. So that is a wrap from me on day 2 of the Blueprint Path series. It is not too late to register to come along live and get coached from me tomorrow. Or if you're anything like me, I just always like to get videos and watch the replays. I'm a real quiet achiever. I just potter around in the background and I do what I need to do. So you can also get recordings and watch those as well. But I do encourage you all 5 days as they all come together to make it work, and I will see you soon.